In progress book, if you see EC, that's extra credit. That means it's out of 0. If you have 5 in there or 10 or whatever, it's all extra credit points. It does not count against you if you have a 0 out of 0 points. If you see HWP, that's your number of right answers you had on a homework assignment. It's out of 0. It doesn't hurt you if it's 0. You could have all 10 right and have 10 extra credit points. If you see warm-up, that's out of 50. That's a 0, and it will hurt if you have a 0. If you get all 50, then you have 100% for that assignment. If you're absent, you have to try to make this up in 6th period at some point. Also, if you see lotto, that means lottery, and also added in that is the bonus on the warm-up quiz. You could either have a 0 out of 0, a 10 out of 0, or 20 out of 0. Anything out of 0 means it's extra credit. It doesn't hurt you if it's 0. And for practice problems, if we do 1 in class, then it's worth 10 points. If we do 2, then you have 20. If we do 5 of them, you get 50. So if you get a 0 on those, yes, that will hurt, but you can make that up with bonus points elsewhere, like extra credit lottery and the homework answers. Now, when you look at your grades in progress book, if you see a bunch of 0s in a row, yeah, we have like 6 grades a day, so you're going to have a bunch of 0s, but you have lottery, homework points, and those are both out of 0. You're going to have homework that's worth something and a quiz that's worth something, and then your practice problems, that's worth something. But on the first day of every new objective, this is out of 0 and that's out of 0, so it can't hurt you. It's extra credit. And today your quiz is extra credit. The practice problems are extra credit, and then tomorrow it might be out of 20 or 30 or whatever. The new objective is to factor by grouping. Here's an example. You have 15xy plus 9by minus 25ax minus 15ab. You want to try to factor that by grouping, and grouping means just that. You want to find 2 terms out of these 4 to start with that have the most in common. For example, you have 15 and 9 for these first 2. You can take a 3 out of both of them. You could also take what variable out of them? Y. They both have a y in them, so we'll start with those. We'll start with grouping those 2 together with parentheses. And then the other 2 we'll assume have to go together. Anytime you have a minus sign like this, we're going to group these 2 together, but anytime you have a minus sign in between there, you keep that first term, 25ax. It no longer has a minus sign in front of it because it's out in front of the parentheses. So essentially you've changed its sign. And then you change the sign of this one as well. That's only when you have a minus sign in this position. You change the sign of this and this when you put it into the parentheses. Once you have things grouped together the way you think they should be, then you go back and factor out what you can from the first quantity by itself. You can take out a 3 and a y. So start with 3y and then go back and divide each of those by 3y. And you'll get 5x plus 3b when you divide both of those terms by 3y. Now over here on this side I've made a mark that I can't get rid of, so I'm going to have to do it this way. There we go. And then go back to blue. Have to leave room for the factor. You can take out a 20, or not a 25, but you can take out 5 from each of those. And what variable? A. So we can take out a 5a. And then divide each of these 2 terms by 5a. You'll be left with 5x and then plus 3b. Now if you've done this right up to this point, then you should have 2 quantities that are exactly the same. 5x plus 3b in this case. If you do, then your next step is to write the final answer. 3y minus 5a, and then you only need one of these two that are the same, 5x plus 3b. That's your final answer. What if we did the same problem but we grouped it differently? What if we did 15xy minus 25ax and then plus 9by minus 15ab? If we did that and tried these first two, you can take a 5 out of each and an x. No, you cannot take a, yeah, you could take a 5x out, and then if you go back to the divide, you'll have 3y and then minus 5a. Now for the other one, you end up with a plus sign here, so you don't have to change signs. What we're going to do is take out a 3 and a b, and when you divide, you're left with 3y and then minus 5a. So in that case, you end up with the same thing there and there. So you do 5x plus 3b, and then just one of these, 3y minus 5a, which is the same as what we had before, except they're in different spots. This one was second before, and this one was first. You can write the quantities in a different order, but you can't change the order inside of them. On this one, we have 5ab minus 9ax plus 30b minus 54x. Now you have 5 and 9 here. You can't take anything out of both of those except 1, and that doesn't help. They do have an a in common, but look at the back end. You have 30 and 54. Yeah, we'll change this one and this one. We'll trade spots to get 5ab plus 30b and then minus 9ax minus 54x. So if you look at the front two now, you can take out a 5 from both and a b. So if you take out 5b and divide both of those by 5b, you're left with a plus 6. But now you have a minus sign here. And when you have a minus sign, you have to change the signs of everything else. So this one becomes a positive inside, and then this sign here changes to plus. And we can go ahead and write that the way it is, and then go back and pick up the step. So we changed the sign of this one, left the minus sign outside and put the 9 inside, 9ax, and we changed the sign of this one there. So if you go back and just rewrite the first part, because it doesn't change. And now you can factor out a 9 from both of those and an x. So take out 9x and divide both of those by 9x to be left with a plus 6. So we do have the same quantity here and here. So use 5b and the minus 9x, and then just use one of the a plus 6's. For the practice problem, you have a 2 and an a that can come out of the first two items. So let's go ahead and stick with that and make it 2a, and then divide both by 2a to get b minus x. And then for the second two, you can take out a 5. And that would leave you with b minus x. So you have the same quantity in each one. 2a plus 5, and then b minus x. The solution for this problem, you have 35 and 49 together. You can also take out an x squared from both of those. So you can have 7 x squared coming out of those and be left with 5a minus 7x. Now here's a minus sign in front of that quantity. That means on the inside this plus changes to minus. You can take out an 8 from both of those, but just an 8, and be left with 5a and then minus 7x. So you'll have a final answer of 7x squared minus 8 in one quantity and 5a minus 7x in the other.